So, Frank, yesterday I played you a song from the band Cake. Do you remember what it was about?
Yes.
What was it about?
Sheep go to heaven, goats go to hell.
Welcome to another episode of Catholicism with my kid. I'm Kyle Hyman.
I am his kid.
So I played that for you, and that didn't make any sense to you.
No.
Right. But now you've read Matthew 25, right?
Yep.
And what did you learn from Matthew 25?
Goats gave Jesus no drink, no food, no visiting whenever he was in prison. I forget the other parts. But with the sheep, they did the opposite. They did give drink. They did visit him in the prison. They did give him food.
Mm-hmm. So what happens to the sheep and what happens to the goats?
Goats go to hell, sheep go to heaven.
Yeah. And so is he talking literally about sheep and goats?
Yeah.
Well, he's actually setting up an analogy. So the whole thing started with Jesus saying that when the Son of Man comes in glory, all the angels are with him. He'll separate them one from the other, as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. So he's saying God is going to separate people like a shepherd separates sheep and goats. So he's not saying that God is actually going to be playing with goats and sheep. But he's saying this is a comparison. So it's like a shepherd would do that. And the sheep will go to heaven, the goats will go to hell. And then he says, why? Because he gives them 6 different reasons why the sheep go to heaven. It's because he's talking like you, the people that did that, people that were good. When I was hungry, you gave me food. When I was thirsty, you gave me a drink. When I was a stranger, you welcomed me. When I was naked, you clothed me. When I was ill, you cared for me. I was in prison, you visited me. So 6 different things. That's what people that go to heaven do. And the goats that go to hell, they didn't do those things, right?
Opposite.
He says, when I was hungry, you gave me no food. I was thirsty, you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, you gave me no welcome. I was naked, you gave me no clothing. I was ill and in prison, and you did not care for me. So in both cases, whenever he lists these things off that, oh, these sheep did all these good things, the sheep said, when did we do those to you? When did we see you? The good people say, I don't remember seeing you naked and clothing you, or hungry and feeding you, or thirsty and giving you a drink. When did that happen? Like, jog my memory. What am I missing here? And what does Jesus say?
Whenever you did it for the least of these?
Yeah, so what does that mean?
I don't know.
So he's saying whenever you do it to other people, whenever you do it to somebody that might seem like the least person, doesn't seem like they're God at all, doesn't seem like Jesus, it's somebody that's suffering, somebody that's in pain, somebody that's hungry or poor or needs something, they're sick. Whenever you do it to those people that might seem like the least in society, that you're actually doing to Jesus. So what he's saying is how we treat other people is how we're treating Jesus, and that's how we're going to be judged.
So let's go give food to the poor and water to the poor.
Exactly, right? Because he's saying we're not going to be judged on what we say. If we say we believe in God, we're not going to be judged on how holy we seem to other people or how holy we think we are. Saying all the right prayers is good because it should lead us to action, right? Believing in God, being baptized, going to Mass, these are all good things that should lead us to action. But if it doesn't lead us to action, if it doesn't lead us to taking care of other people, then that faith is, as James would say later in the Bible, James says faith without works is dead. So if our faith is not calling us to action, then it's not a living faith. It's not a real faith. It's not a true faith in God, because real faith in God calls us to action. We will be judged on what we do. So if we take care of other people, we're taking care of God, And if we don't take care of other people, then we're ignoring God.
Okay.
So do you think it's hard sometimes to see other people and see Jesus in them and to treat them like you would treat Jesus?
Yeah.
Do you think you do that? Do you think you treat other people like you would treat Jesus? Or do you think you would treat Jesus better than you treat other people?
I would treat Jesus way better.
Than your friends and family and strangers?
Maybe strangers.
So yeah, it's hard because Jesus was perfect, right? And so it's easy to be nice to somebody who's perfect. It's harder to be nice to somebody that's imperfect, that makes mistakes, that has maybe hurt us in the past. But God's saying we still need to treat them like we would treat God. You know, another place in the Bible it says the greatest of the commandments is to love God, and the second is to love your neighbor. And in doing so, we are loving God. Because whatever we do to our neighbor, whatever we do to our siblings, whatever we do to strangers, we're doing to God, right?
Yeah.
So at the beginning you said, we should go feed people and give drink to people, right? Is that something that we do very often?
Nope.
Yeah, honestly, it's not something that we do very often. Now, you might not be aware of it, but Mom and I donate to organizations that help the poor, that help the needy.
How do you know they do that? How do you know that they don't keep half of the share to themselves?
Well, sometimes we have to trust. There's some really good organizations out there that are created to help other people. Like St. Vincent de Paul Society, the Catholic Charities. There's a lot of organizations that are helping out people that need extra help. And so we support those. We make donations to them. But in addition, we should always be open to how we can help people that we see. So not just writing a check, not just putting money in an envelope and hoping somebody else takes care of it. But if we see somebody that's in need of something, and it might just be somebody at school that needs help picking up some books, or they drop their lunch, or they get hurt at recess, and we help take care of them. Because that person is Jesus. And if we're taking care of that person, we're taking care of Jesus. If we're ignoring that person that's in need of help, we're ignoring Jesus. So, always be looking out for people that need help. Always look out for people that are lonely and need a friend. That's our call. And when we do that, when we help those people, we're helping God, and we'll be like what animal?
Sheep!
That do what?
Go to heaven.
Yeah. So it's an analogy. Sheep aren't necessarily good and goats are bad. Like that's not the point of the story. We want to be like the sheep. We want to be the people that help Jesus. We don't want to be like the goats, the people that ignore Jesus, right?
Moral of the story.
Yeah. All right, I'm Kyle Hyman.
I'm Frank Hyman.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Catholicism with my kid. All right, any last words that you want to say to people?
Do good things. Can we play drums now?
Sure.